Hey everybody, it's Verena. I'm back, albeit a little bit in physical repair. Had a lot of health issues and just fun job stuff going on. But I'm back, and unfortunately, I'm sorry it's been so long. The last time I spoke with everybody, it was springtime, and as you can see, I'm getting ready to hopefully go to the pool before work today. So it's summer. Holy cow, right? It's been a really dry, hot summer. Have you noticed that? Really dry and really hot. And I had a theory. Maybe it's so dry and really hot because God used up all that water during the Great Flood. So we're running behind now on what we have available. I'm just trying to use Christian logic here. Sorry. No, seriously though, water is going to be the topic of today's discussion, which I found rather interesting. I was reading the story of Noah's Ark the other day, and this is the time of year. Actually, they're fairly sure by the calendar then versus now, the month would have been July, that the Great Flood began. Now, I don't know what summers were like over in the Middle East where Noah lived. I mean, the climate could have been very much different than what we have now, but last I checked, it's hotter than shit over there. It's drier than beef jerky. I mean, it's bad over there. So it's like, okay, so this is the month that the Great Flood began. And I just want to ask everybody, my dear friends and that, who believe in God, my Christian friends, who hold this little myth dear and close to their hearts, because of the covenant that God made, where he said that he would no longer destroy man like this again. Which is kind of weird. Isn't that what he's supposed to do when he comes back in Revelations? He's going to destroy man again? Maybe it's just by drowning. You know, the little technicality in his speech that he gave. Maybe he just doesn't plan to drown people again. He'll just burn them or plague them with disease, let them go out that way. He couldn't just look at them and do a little bewitched wiggle a nose and make you vanish. No. He's got to really torture you. Okay. So anyway, you've got this wonderful covenant with God. It's the anniversary. Congratulations. And, it made me think about a lot of different things. I mean, when you think on this story and the covenant that it represents with God at the end. I mean, do you think of all the innocents that were essentially murdered across the world? I mean, there was no chance in hell that all the believers in God, true believers, there's no way Noah and his family were the only believers, okay, in the Word of God. Because even God says that he makes himself known to all people somehow, some way, right? But what about the innocents? I mean, what about the kids that are too young to know? I mean, are they just guilty by association? What about, Bob up the street in China or something, in Asia at the time? Or what about the Native Americans over here in the U.S.? Because I'm sure there were people living here. I mean, they would have certainly not had a chance at all to ever have known who God was or make the journey to get on the ark. And then he went and he flooded them all out and killed everybody. I mean, what a murderous bastard. You worship this guy and you actually appreciate his covenant for what he did. Wow. But I go further than that with this thought. For me, it's more on the scientific level. And I wonder, there's no evidence that this ever happened. Not even in that area is there any geological or fossil record evidence. And I realize it's Satan hiding the facts or whatever. Satan takes away facts out of the fossil bed and then he puts fake ones in like dinosaur bones. I think I understand where you're coming from on that. It's like, okay, whatever. So we've got that going on. So we can't look at fossil record evidence. But I have to look at how things are. God told Noah, and somehow, according to the book, Noah did manage to actually put one pair of every kind of animal on the ark. At least that's how the story goes. That's what everybody says in Sunday school. And that's the problem. Sunday school's been lying a lot. I actually read the story of Noah, and God told him to put 7 pairs of every type of clean animal onto this ark, and only 1 pair of every type of unclean animal. And then on top of that, all the birds and fowls of the sky, that kind of thing. So the birds alone, what? Right? And I think about this, and it's like, could this have just been a geographical incident, even if there's no evidence as such? Because we know the devil erases evidence, right? And puts fake evidence in its place. He's good at that. So even with that said, how did the koalas get there? I mean, is it only indigenous animals? Because they're saying, like, all the animals of the world. Noah managed to get 7 pairs of each clean kind and 1 pair of each unclean kind. I mean, how did koalas and orangutans or wildebeest, make that migration across oceans? Did they say, hey, Mr. Sperm Whale, come give us a ride in your mouth like you did with that one guy? And they're like, okay. And all the whales lined up on all the different beaches of the continents, and everybody hopped in their mouth and went for a ride and made it in time to get on Noah's ship. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. I really want to understand that. It's mind-boggling to me on a lot of levels. I mean, this should alone tell you it's a lot of fables and myths in this story, like Aesop, that kind of thing. I don't understand how you lend credit to this stuff. It just doesn't make any sense at all. And I know you can say God doesn't have to make sense, but if that's the case, why are you pissed off about how the president of our country runs things? I mean, what does it matter anyway? You're just going to heaven. What you work down here on earth isn't for heavenly good. Why is it so important if we get run over a debt cliff and get taken over by other countries and lose our sovereignty? The whole rationale is really weird. And I would really, really genuinely like to know why or how you believe this stuff. And I already know I'm going to get at least 8 different positions on this one story. Some people are going to say it's not literal. Some of you are going to say it's factual. Some of you are going to say it's a little bit of both. I mean, nobody will even be able to agree on why the story is what it is. But it doesn't change the facts. You're happy about God promising not to kill billions of people again by drowning, including innocents. And you really believe that somehow an orangutan, 14 orangutans managed to make it to the ark in that little of notice. Sperm whales are awesome. They must have helped. I mean, totally. Have you ever seen how big their mouths are?